Coming up this week, the mystery of the disappearing cat, an argument with a well-spoken chap about the Queen, and what's your favourite rice? But first, a man who has a bone to pick with politicians. All of them. Surbiton, hello, Tony.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good evening.
You seem surprised.
Well, normally you don't know.
You did call me, right?
Yes.
Okay, then.
Often thingy-bob.
Hey, Tony, wait, are we on speakerphone?
No.
Right, we want to get yourself a new telephone, mate. This is dreadful. What brand is it? No, don't tell it.
No. Okay. It most probably is because I'm a little bit deaf.
Yeah, what? It's got nothing to do with you being deaf. Me hearing it has got nothing. Your deafness does not affect me. Anyway.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
ahead.
What I phoned for was this. Okay?
Yes. The following.
Basically, when I grew up, I'm 61 now.
61 years old.
Hello?
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 And rivers were better, local authorities were better.
Wait. Back up. Rivers were better. What, wetter?
No, I mean...
They were wetter or less wet? What do you mean?
Okay, let's say generally, local politicians were better in their areas. Everybody knew them.
Right. The rivers were better, the politicians were better.
The council were better.
You didn't groan when you sat down.
And nowadays, they are basically they earn too much money. It's now a profession.
What, being a politician?
Yes.
Well, what would you prefer?
What I would prefer is somebody that really actually wants to be in that position rather than see a good pension, good salary, everything else.
I don't see these days that people are going into politics for an easy life.
Oh, I definitely do.
Well, I definitely don't.
It's like if you go back in history, yes?
History.
People just go, where do I get the best pension?
Oh, history? Go on.
Okay. Where do you get a best pension in life? In any job?
Teacher? I don't know.
No. Possibility politician.
Well, but the life of a politician is precarious, to say the least. I mean, you get voted in or out of your job every 5 years at a maximum.
Yes, and what sort of pension do they get for that 5 years?
5 years? Well, not much, I wouldn't think.
Well, I should maybe Freedom of Information Act and see how much pension they get.
I don't think we need to do that. We just need to look it up for Tony. All you need to do is look it up.
What I'm saying is...
Yes.
Is basically these politicians have done nothing since 2016.
Oh, that's completely untrue.
No, they have. Well, basically they're dismal. They're inept. But what they should do is basically take any party, whether it's Liberal, Labour, Conservative, whatever.
Other parties are available.
Yeah. Should automatically, any party that turned around and said, we will basically take a 10% pay cut for what we've done in the last year and 30% decrease in our pension.
Yeah, all right. What would you have them to have done? Wow, that was excruciating sentence. I wish I could reword it, but I can't.
Well, what I would like them to do is do what they were voted to do.
Which is?
Democracy.
They were voted to do democracy?
Yes, and represent the people.
Right. Well, isn't that what they're doing?
And they haven't done that. All they're interested in, any politician today is only interested in the same as everybody else, in their job.
Well, that's completely untrue. But if that were true, if they were only interested... Wait a minute, because it's true. If they were only interested... Listen to me. Tony! If they are only interested in doing their job, then that's what you're asking for.
No, but what I'm saying to you is politics should be above that.
It should be above them doing their job.
It should be a fact, they are representing the people, not for their own benefits.
Right, but they surely should accrue some benefits from doing the job. Otherwise, why would anybody want to do it?
Well, excuse me, if you say that...
Excuse me?
Well, if they're only £68,000 a year,
Yes.
Why do most of the MPs in this country, earn over £1 million a year?
Well, they don't, is the reason why.
Well, okay, let's say this, Well,
we're just, as we're making stuff up...
Let's say this, you become an MP on £68,000 a year.
Yes.
You then go on to giving talks, everything else. By the time in 10 years, specifically because you became an MP, you make £1 million a year.
Well, you don't.
Which other? You've got Neil Hamilton still going on about politics because he couldn't find anything else to do. Because it's the only way he made money.
Yeah, well, that's his field of expertise, isn't it?
Yes.
That's what he has a history in.
Okay, so let me ask you another question.
Well, I don't believe you have asked me any questions yet, but go ahead. Ask me your first question.
Okay, so how many MPs, his wife, everybody else...
Is it 6?
I mean, if you look at the pensions these people get for what they've done...
Right, but we've already established... Tony, we have already established that you don't know how much pensions they get. So how can you come to the conclusion that it's ludicrous, being as you don't know what number is involved?
Excuse me?
Excuse me?
Can you tell me? And you're a presenter, you should know these facts.
I should know these facts, yes. Ask me.
Okay, so tell me...
I bet I do know this fact.
Okay, so tell me what percentage of their salary
63.
Relates to any person in politics.
63%.
63%?
Yes. Look it up.
Okay, so let's say I earn £10,000, yeah?
All right, you earn £10,000.
Per year.
Per year. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Don't spend it all in the same shop.
And where would I get 63% of my salary for the rest of my life?
Working in McDonald's?
What, I'm asked at any job.
Yeah. 63% of 10 grand.
Yeah.
Which is, what, 32,000?
£10,000, 63%.
What's the 63% of £10,000, approximately? It's about, what, 5 grand? Something like that?
No, 63% is most probably 6.2, 6.3.
About 6.2, yeah. 6.2, yeah. 6.2 what?
Thousand.
6.2 thousand is 63%.
Oh, please, don't go me on mathematics. Let's say this. All right, 63% of 10,000 is basically...
It's about 62.
63, yeah. £6,300, all right?
Not really. Well, it's probably more or less in the ballpark, yeah.
Yeah, let me ask you this.
Maths is not an accurate science. It's more about feelings.
Well, let me ask you this question.
Another question.
Yeah? Okay. MP earns £68,000 average. Right.
Yeah? What's 63% of 68,000?
Well, 47.2.
No. Close. No cigar.
That was off the top of my head. I haven't got
I imagine, yeah.
I haven't got a calculator in my hand.
No, well, you're supposed to know this stuff off the top of your head, Tony. It's called mental arithmetic.
Yes.
Didn't they teach you anything in school?
Sorry?
Well, I accept your apology. Okay, it's been entertaining, Tony, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Does Nick Ferrari get calls like that? He does, but they just don't get through to Nick Ferrari. See, that's the big difference. Yeah, big difference. Huge. Coming up, where's Larry? You're in Surbiton, but you know that.
Yes, that's it. I just wanted to ask you, what's happened to Larry, the cat, at number 10?
Larry?
Yeah, you don't see it outside anymore, do you?
I don't recall ever seeing it outside.
Yeah, I have when I've been out there, doing different things out there. And, the cat's often wandered by and sat at the door to be waited to be let in.
Really? they got quite a big.
That's what they usually do.
Right, no, I've never seen that. They got quite a big garden. You'd think that a cat would be, in the garden doing its.
I was just wondering because they've got a little Jack Russell, haven't they?
You what?
They've got a little Jack Russell now.
Oh, well, it's probably.
And I'm wondering whether that's chased it away.
Killed it, yeah. Well, as soon as I find out, I'll let you know straight away. All right.
Oh, thanks very much.
Thanks,
That's
Diana.
Very kind of you.
Cheers, my dear. What a nice lady. 0345 6060 973. Wendy in Fulham says, I too have wonder about Larry the cat. The puppy Jack Russell are made to hunt, or he's a bully dog. Well, maybe it's a bully cat. I've seen cats face down Alsatians. It's chase foxes around the garden. They don't take any nonsense. Cats. Yeah, that's true. They don't. And now, this caller rang in before the last general election and wanted to know how to avoid making a mistake in the polling booth. And it's followed by some viewing advice for instant happiness. And then some out-of-season Santa Claus chat. His call in Reading. Hello, Sam.
Hi there.
Hello there.
Yes, hi. Just wanted to ask a quick question, really. I got a question for you. Because you keep whinging and whining about Donald Trump and moaning about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
When Donald Trump was going to win the elections, I remember I did call you up and I said he's going to win, and you said no, he isn't.
No, that's incorrect. I predicted that Donald Trump would win. After that first TV debate, him and Hillary, I thought that guy's going to win it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got a question for you. I mean, you might blame it on the weather now when the Conservatives win, that a lot of people didn't turn up. Is that what you're going to do?
If a lot of people don't go and vote, I'll blame it on the weather and a general sense of apathy, and the country just can't stand it anymore.
Because the Conservatives are going to win anyway. I believe.
Well, that may or may not be true. The polls would suggest that at the moment, but polls have been spectacularly wrong before. And Jeremy Corbyn, at about this point in the last general election, he overturned a 20-point deficit. Don't forget that.
Well, this Corbyn says a lot of things. I don't believe anything.
No, this is not what he says. He overturned a 20-point deficit about this far away from the election. He was 20 points down on the Conservatives, and they only just narrowly squeaked it. Do you recall?
Well, they'll probably squeak it again.
Well, maybe.
It's the winner.
The beauty of it is, Sam, we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, even if it's by 2%, I don't want them saying, let's have a re-election. That's what they've done with the referendum.
Well, as long as people in this election don't give the wrong answer, then nobody will request that.
So what's the right answer then?
The right answer is whatever you feel would be the best choice for you to make, Sam. And then we'll add them all up and we'll see what the correct answer is, unless it's the wrong answer, in which case we'll have to do it again.
Stop sitting on the fence. Come on.
I'm not sitting on the fence. I'm telling it like it is. Just don't make a mistake. That's all.
Well, I really like your show, and carry on. Thanks.
All right, I'll do that. Thanks a lot, Sam. Another satisfied customer. Simon in Windsor says, apropos to nothing you were talking about, I watched the Birmingham Commonwealth Games video again this week, and I actually cried. And I'm an estate agent. What, you mean cold and emotionless? Like a robot?
Affirmative.
I'm an estate agent? What does that mean? He says, if anyone is feeling low, you must watch it, as you realise there is a lot about this country to be proud about. OK, I'll say it again. You must watch it. It's one of the best things I've ever seen. How they did it, I don't quite know. It's unfathomable. You watch it over and over again, you can't quite figure out how they did it. There are behind-the-scenes videos that showed you precisely how they did it, because it was all one take with one camera that swooped and whooshed and went through hoops and all sorts of things. It's just amazing. It was the music, Mr. Blue Sky,
rock and roll,
the Electric Light Orchestra. And it's just people, looming about and larking and running and jumping and skipping hither and thither and yon all over the that plaza outside that big building, whatever it is, council offices probably, in Leeds. Was it Birmingham or Leeds? Was it Birmingham or Leeds? It was probably Birmingham. Yeah, it was Birmingham. Yeah, the Birmingham Commonwealth Games video. It was and continues to be superb. So if you're in need of being cheered up, go and look it up on the World Wide Web. The Birmingham Commonwealth Games video to Mr. Blue Sky by the ELO. Let's have a call in Wembley. Christoph.
Hello, Nick. Yes, actually, just been to see a fantastic play at the new theatre in Wembley Park today.
Oh, yeah.
Warhorse.
Warhorse. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, based on the story by Michael Morpurgo.
Yes.
I know it.
I saw it in the West End somewhere, and I don't really remember anything about it other than sitting there thinking, wow, those are good puppets.
Yeah.
Aren't they just?
And I'm blind, and actually they let us go a couple of hours before the show, and they show us blind people the puppets, the horses. It's incredible.
They show them to you?
Yeah, they let you touch them.
I see.
How they work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a remarkable feat of engineering because you do forget that they're not horses. I mean, not quite, but you don't sit there thinking, that's not a horse.
You suspend your disbelief.
Exactly.
They mentioned Christmas in that, but no mention of Father Christmas. And I just thought I'd ring you up and let you know how I found out. So the thing is, the funny thing is, I think I always knew the Father Christmas didn't really exist. But,
no, I didn't.
I think because I'm Polish and they celebrate him but in a rather different way.
How?
Well, first of all, Christmas Eve is celebrated by Poles, not Christmas Day.
Really? What do you do on Christmas Day then?
Sleep.
Well, you don't do anything?
You go for a walk. I think go for walks.
Right.
Chat to the family.
So when's the big meal?
It's Christmas Eve evening.
Huh.
Yeah.
And the presents get distributed on Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
Well, why? Isn't that a bit bizarre? Because isn't Christmas Day supposed to be Jesus' birthday?
Well, I don't know, and that's just that I'm just telling you that what's
right. Okay, you're just telling me the facts.
Why it's that way. Mm-hmm. But I think because the Polish love to have someone, they call him Święty Mikołaj, Santa Claus, and you tended to go to about 3 different communal present-giving ceremonies where there was someone dressed up as Santa Claus. Long before Christmas Eve itself.
Well, what does Santa Claus actually look like in Poland? Because our idea of what Santa Claus is a construct from the Coca-Cola company, isn't it?
So this is a question I can't answer because I can't see.
And right. Stupid question. Yeah, you're quite right.
They didn't have. I mean, they definitely had a beard because I'm pretty sure I remember pulling.
Yeah.
When I was about 4 or 5 years old, pulling a beard off. But found out pretty dull, really. I found the Christmas present that was going to be given to my brother, which was a bicycle. I found it hidden behind the sofa about a day before it was actually given to him as a Christmas.
That's a really bad hiding place, isn't it?
Particularly since children love going behind sofas. Yeah. But anyway, I'm not sure whether the Polish people ever promulgated the myth about Father Christmas, or whether it was the English people that
I thought it was a German thing.
No.
This is just a vague recollection of having read about this years ago, but I thought it was a German much of our celebration of Christmas has German origins, chopping down a tree and dragging what used to be a perfectly healthy well, and then executing it and dragging it inside. What a bizarre thing to do.
Indeed.
But I think that's a German thing as well.
Artificial Christmas trees all around.
No. I mean, that may be saving the planet, perhaps, but no, it's just not the same. Plus, have you seen the price of them?
Well, yeah, but you can use them.
Again and again, yeah, I suppose so. But the thing with buying a Christmas tree that you use again and again is that you'll always have that fake Christmas tree.
I suppose, you can chuck it out after a few years if you don't like it. But I want to tell you how my son found out, or sort of confirmed for himself, because he told me. So I give him access to my Amazon account so that when he wants something, he can just add stuff to the basket, and he happened to scroll through my order history and noticed some of his Christmas presents.
Well, that is, I think they call that contributory negligence. Yeah, you're a very bad parent. Coming up, I have a heated discussion about the... Talk! This person in Alton is about to talk to me. Colin.
Hi.
An ecstasy of fumbling. Yes, Colin.
I just want to make clear that...
Can you step a little closer to the phone?
I just want to... Yes, do you hear me clearly now?
Little closer than that.
I'm as close as I'm going to be able to get to you, Nick.
Can you place it somewhere near your face?
Yes, it's somewhere near my face.
Okay. Excellent. Carry on.
The way you present it as though the taxpayers are actually handing over huge sums of money to the Queen and the Royal Family.
Squeezed dry we are.
No, you're quite wrong on that.
Quite correct in every respect.
No, well, let me try to explain to you my view of it. Don't ask me for exact figures, but I'm going to give you the principle.
Right.
The Crown owned billions in assets. And
the Queen does own billion in assets. She's got about $1.5 billion in her personal bank account. That's what her assets equal, something like that. And we give her money. Can you believe that?
No, I'm going to tell you something which you're overlooking. The Crown handed over, maybe not 100%, and maybe what she's left is what you say, but there was a huge amount which was handed over to the government,
Yes, I'm aware of all this. It was a sleight of hand in order to get her a giant pay rise, which is exactly what occurred.
Hang on, let me finish. And she did that in exchange for an annual payment.
Yeah. I know all this. This is all common knowledge, Colin.
Yeah, but it's not being bled white like there's an additional amount put on or for more money spent on the cottage for Harry and Meghan and all that. There is a specific amount which is called the civil list.
£83 million a year. A few years ago, she was getting about 20. Now she's on 8. When they changed the formula, now she's on 83. Plus the 50 million that she gets from Canada, and the 20-odd million that she gets from New Zealand, and here, there, and everywhere, baby, and the 20 million that she gets.
Do you know the value? I don't, and I'm not pretending I do. But do you know the value of what was exchanged in the estate of the Crown estate, which was handed
Colin,
over?
it doesn't make any difference who owns it. She's the only one that's allowed to use it.
No, there were huge.
It doesn't. If there was a house, Colin, that you lived in, and only you could live in it forever, but you didn't own it, then it wouldn't really make any difference if you didn't own it, because you're the only one that can use it. Therefore, by all measure, it's yours.
Sounds like a massive lease for life. But the other
but you don't have to pay for it. If there's a house that you don't have to pay for, that's yours forever, and then and on your death you can give it to whoever you like, then it doesn't matter whether you own it or not. You might as well own it. It doesn't make any difference.
Leaving the house aside,
the house and the land and the offshore income stream that comes from the wind farms and all that stuff that the Queen's own. Under your feet right now, if you find anything under your feet, Colin, it's hers. You think you bought the land on your house. You haven't. You might have bought the topsoil, not the bit that's underneath it.
The law on that is the law, and that's what it is. It's nothing to do with her.
Of course it is.
The point I'm trying to make to you, and which you don't seem to want to accept, is the fact that she handed over.
I do accept that. It was a sleight of hand. It made no difference. She didn't change her ways. She didn't get turfed out of her house. There was no estate that she can't go to anymore because it's been fenced off for specific use of the public. We're not allowed to go there. She alone can use it. Doesn't make any difference whether she personally, legally owns it or not.
I own my house. I've no doubt you own yours. But the reality is that if one hands it over in exchange for an annual payment, and that annual payment is fixed, nobody's bleeding anybody white or doing any of the things you're saying.
Yes, Colin. But you're missing the point now. If you hand your house over for an annual income, then by implication you have to move out of that house. It's not yours to use anymore. But that's not what happened.
Well, you don't know what was handed over, and neither do I. And
yes, of course we do. The Crown estate. The Queen has exclusive use of the Crown estate. all the knickknacks and the baubles and the jewels and all that stuff that's supposed to be owned by us. We don't get to touch them. If we want to even look at them, we have to spend 30 quid at the box office, and we can take a peek for about 3 months in the summer.
There were vast swathes of assets which were handed over, which were not for her exclusive use, and of course,
name one.
Exclusive use stuff.
Name one.
I did state at the beginning that I did not have a schedule, and it would be interesting to find out what that is. But may I make a second very quick point?
Yes.
The huge amount of income.
Oh no! Please don't say tourists coming to this country because of the Queen. Please don't say that.
Well, why? Who do you think standing on their thousands?
Oh my God!
Do you not really think that people come for that?
Of course not. Which is the most popular royal palace for tourists in Europe?
No, I'm not saying people going to the palace. I'm talking to the people who come for the pageantry and all the other things which
we can have the pageantry without giving her 83 million quid a year that she doesn't need.
The 83 million quid a year is in exchange for what she handed over.
Smiling and waving is what it's in exchange for. And it's not even 83 million pounds, it's hundreds of millions of pounds if you add all the tarting up that every council has to do every time she goes and pays a visit.
Well, I do know that she's an extremely frugal lady, does not splash money around in any way.
Are you kidding me? She lives in manors and castles and palaces and cottages and estates, and it just goes on and on. Frugal? You mean she once turned off a light?
Well, I don't think I agree with that. But the thing we don't know, and it would be nice
frugal.
to find out...
Buckingham Palace alone has 1,000 rooms. What are you talking about?
Well, what do you want to do? Turn it into a hotel or something?
Well, let's turn it into a house for the homeless.
There are plenty of other things you could do for the houses for the homeless, and I don't think anyone is wanting to not have people... If you want to put homeless people in the Buckingham Palace instead of the Queen...
It's a ridiculous building, and it's a ridiculous plot, and a ridiculous place. There can't be another place on earth in such an expensive expensive real estate that has a garden that's got a forest and a lake in it.
She didn't put that there. That was there right from the beginning.
Well, if she wanted to open it up to the general public 365 days a year, then it is in her gift to do it. But she doesn't. Frugal.
I mean, she's not splashing out in huge amounts.
No, of course not. They just go everywhere by helicopter, and they used to go everywhere by boat, for crying out loud. Prince Charles has got his own train. Frugal.
Well, his own coach on a train, possibly. But
no, it's the entire... No, Colin, it is the entire train. Every time he steps on it, it costs us about 50 grand.
You say costs us, but it comes out of the agreed annual payment, which is not increased or decreased without government intervention.
Colin, it's like people like you. It's like you've joined a cult. You've drunk the Kool-Aid. It's like talking to the people who are fans of Donald Trump. No piece of logic will enter your mind. You've been hypnotized.
No. I don't think so.
Well, I do think so. Yeah, like those people that sit at the side of the road with a tartan rug over their knees and a Union Jack thermos flask in expectation of meeting the Queen as she zips by at 30 miles an hour, and they see a white glove at the window, and that's it. 83 million quid a year. Well, thanks a lot, Your Majesty. You and all of your... the bizarre brood are doing a fantastic job. Talk about a dysfunctional family. But anyway, I wish you all the best. Thanks, Colin. Matthew texts, have some respect, Nick. The Queen is our head of state, the longest serving in our history. Well, I know she's our head of state. And the longest serving is just because she's been alive this long. That's not an achievement. She will no longer serve when she's no longer with us. How is that an achievement? You, Matthew, have been Matthew for as long as you've been Matthew. That's not an achievement either. And finally, a question that popped up out of nowhere and had nothing to do with what we were talking about, which is often my favourite type of question. Let's have Suffolk. Andrew.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Me too. I've got a burning question for you.
Well, let me ask you this first, Andrew. How are you?
How many millions of times have you been asked that, do you think?
6. 6 million times.
Excuse me.
Good grief. Are you all right?
It's cold. Yeah. No, I'm fine. What I wanted to ask you was what your favourite kind of rice was.
Ah, that's an excellent question.
Mm-hmm. What your least favourite kind of rice was.
I'm not keen on sticky rice. I just don't see the attraction, to be honest.
Yeah. The consistency's all wrong.
It is. I think my favourite would have to be, depending on how it's made, of course, but I think no rice can taste as good as risotto.
Okay, but that's the other ingredients that you put in with the rice.
Yes, that's right. So you mean just rice on its own?
Yeah.
Well, it would have to be wild rice. You know, the ones that are white and black and brown.
Crunchy.
Green and
nutty.
yellow and pink and blue, orange and purple and green.
Groovy.
I'm with you. Crunchy brown rice.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Well, no, not brown rice. Wild rice. Different.
Okay. That's black, isn't it?
It's got black bits in it, yeah. Were you objecting to that?
No, it's just not what sprung to mind when you first said it.
Right. Well, you want to keep up, mate. Okay, well, thanks for dragging me down that particular avenue, which I did enjoy. And, coincidentally, I'm feeling hungry. For pasta. Steve emails, that last caller who didn't like wild rice because of the black grains was a bit riceist. I knew that there was a joke in there somewhere, and when I was speaking to him, I just didn't know that that's where it was. So congratulations, that man. You win a major prize. Major prize is not available. Always read the label. And that's it.